Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Rob Thacker. I'm the music director here at St. John's Unitarian Universalist Church. Please rise, embody your spirit, and sing our gathering song for the month of December, number 398, To See the World.
I invite you to join me in our chalice lighting. In this holiday season, may the darkness of winter be dispelled in this festival of lights, and may ignorance be dispelled in the strength of compassion, reason, and sharing.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning again. I'm Erica Strauss, and it is my pleasure to welcome you to St. John's Unitarian Universalist Church. Here we offer a community of hope, a community that can journey with you through life. A warm welcome in particular to our visitors, both in person and online this morning. St. John's is proud to be a welcoming congregation. We seek to be a spiritual home for all, and as such, we honor and value the racial, economic, cultural, age, physical ability, sexual orientation, and gender diversity of our members and visitors. There are many great things happening at St. John's. Please review your order of service, and you may want to check out the TV in the lobby or bulletin boards in our fellowship hall. Now, please put your cell phones into church mode. And again, welcome to St. John's.
We'll now sing hymn 224, Let Christmas Come. Please rise, embody your spirit as you're able.
And we will now say our affirmation. This is the mission of our faith, to teach the fragile art of hospitality, to revere both the critical mind and the generous heart, to prove that diversity need not mean divisiveness, and to witness to all that we must hold the whole world in our hands. Unitarian Universalism is a tradition that welcomes people who believe many different things. We offer a community that will be present with you through the joys and sorrows that come into each of our lives. Each week at St. John's, we honor the experiences of our lives in our ritual of stones for joys and concerns. Here at St. John's, we do this by placing stones, representing what we carry, into the sand that represents our community over all the years we have existed. If you would like a joy or concern to be read, please leave them on the table. And if you are online, you can put your joy or concern into the chat, and we can read it at that point in the service.
We have several spoken joys and concerns today. We'll start with the online folks. Lynn O'Brien says, I went to the surgeon. He adjusted the flow of my shunt on Friday. Today, finally, I can walk in the house without aid. Pete Asman says, Melissa's father is in hospice and is near the end. We're sorry you're going through that. Barbara Haddon is also receiving hospice care and is staying at the home of her son, David, and his wife, Laura, in Montfort Heights. Laura and David are inviting St. Johners to visit Barbara. David works from home and can receive visitors most any time. But please make an appointment and show up on time so Barbara doesn't get tired waiting, as she cannot sit up for long periods of time. If you need contact info for David or Laura, see Nancy Henry, who's in the back, or one of today's greeters. And we offer healing thoughts for Kathy Rack as she begins treatment for heart disease. Joseph and Renee Finsel are praying for employment. And Caleb Roberts, Edie Holder's stepson, was admitted to the hospital with a blood sugar reading of 919. As you may recall, he was run over by a drunk driver in 2012. While he survived, his brain was scrambled. Dealing with diabetes is a great challenge for him. I invite you into a spirit of prayer and meditation with the words we've heard today and all that we know which remains unspoken. This is the season of endings and beginnings, when the small signs of dawn pierce through the night and something new is born. But first comes the waiting. First comes the lessons of endings and beginnings, the presence of life, the sheltering spirit of love, grieves with those sweeping up the debris of loss, waits with those who relentlessly reach out for change, grants us courage in the night to guard each other's dreams for this holy, wondrous universe. Grant us, O universe, unfolding in mystery, a sense of timing. May we loosen our grip on that which doesn't serve us, leaving behind that which we have outworn and outgrown. Teach us the lessons of beginnings. Remind us that such waitings and endings may be a starting place, a planting of seeds which bring to birth what is ready to be born, something right and just and different, a new song, a deeper relationship, a fuller love in the fullness of time. May it be so. Our story for all ages today is a video, so I invite anyone who would like to come forward and sit where they can see it easily. It is called The Curious Garden by Peter Brown.
And now, The Curious Garden, written and illustrated by Peter Brown. There once was a city without gardens, or trees, or greenery of any kind. Most people spent their time indoors. As you can imagine, It was a very dreary place. However, there was one boy who loved being outside. Even on drizzly days, while everyone else stayed inside, you could always find Liam happily splashing through his neighborhood. It was on one such morning that Liam made several surprising discoveries. He was wandering around the old railway, as he did from time to time, when he stumbled upon a dark stairwell leading up to the tracks. The railway had stopped working ages ago, and since Liam had always wanted to explore the tracks, there was only one thing for the curious boy to do. Liam ran up the stairs, pushed open the door, and stepped out onto the railway. The first thing he saw was a lonely patch of color. Wildflowers and plants were the last things he had expected to find up there. But when he took a closer look, it became clear that the plants were dying. They needed a gardener. Liam may not have been a gardener, but he knew that he could help. So he returned to the railway the very next day and got to work. The flowers nearly drowned, and he had a few pruning problems, but the plants patiently waited while Liam found better ways of gardening. As the weeks rolled by, Liam began to feel like a real gardener, and the plants began to feel like a real garden. Most gardens stay in one place, but this was no ordinary garden. With miles of open railway ahead of it, the garden was growing restless. It wanted to explore. The tough little weeds and mosses were the first to move. They popped up farther and farther down the tracks and were closely followed by the more delicate plants. Over the next few months, Liam and the curious garden explored every corner of the railway. After spending his spring and summer and autumn with the garden, Liam's time on the railway was finally interrupted by winter. Heavy blankets of snow fell on the city that season, and for the first time since he became a gardener, Liam could not visit the plants. Rather than waste his winter worrying about the garden, Liam spent it preparing for spring. After 3 cold months, the snow finally began to melt, and Liam rolled his new gardening gear over to the railway. Winter had taken a toll on the garden. But thanks to Liam's planning, his handy new tools, and a little help from the sun, the plants soon awoke from their winter sleep. The garden had always wanted to explore the rest of the city, and that spring it was finally ready to make its move. Once again, the tough little weeds and mosses set out first. They popped up farther and farther from the railway and were closely followed by the more delicate plants. The garden was especially curious about old, forgotten things. A few plants popped up where they didn't belong. Others mysteriously popped up all at once. But the most surprising things that popped up were the new gardeners. Many years later, the entire city had blossomed. But of all the new gardens, Liam's favorite was where it all began.
I was just pondering the story. It was good.
The offering that we take each Sunday isn't just a stale habit. It's an opportunity to recommit to this place, to these people. Our offering is an affirmation, a yes. When we give, we say yes to what we value. With our gifts freely given, may we say yes to the values of our faith. May our offering help us practice Unitarian Universalism within and beyond our congregation as tools to empower our mission. St. John's is committed to creating a safe and caring community, working for peace and social justice, and celebrating beliefs that respect freedom of thought. Thank you for sharing your gifts with us. Thank you, Stephen. The other day, I saw a comic. You've probably seen something similar. In the first panel, it showed someone standing in a Halloween shirt with someone standing in a Christmas shirt right next to them. In the next panel, a person in a Thanksgiving shirt pushes Christmas out of the way and stands breathing hard next to Halloween. Have you noticed that? How our culture skips from Halloween to Christmas without much time in between? Almost as soon as they're putting out the Halloween decorations, we have Christmas. Christmas is over, we have Valentine's Day decorations out. What might we be missing when we fail to slow down? Christmas isn't here yet. Solstice isn't here yet. Hanukkah isn't here yet. The days are getting darker, and none of our celebrations of light are quite here yet. This is in between time. This time of waiting, this mix of feelings and emotions, of plans and concerns, is all symbolized in the Christian season of Advent, which started last Sunday. Advent is a time of waiting. And more than that, it's an invitation to hope, love, peace, and perhaps most of all, joy. If you've ever seen a Christian Advent wreath, you may have noticed that one of the candles is a different color. Often it's the third one on the wreath, which is pink. This is the joy candle, and it's lit when the contemplative, traditionally penitential season of Advent is halfway over. It says, no, it's not Christmas yet. We're still in the season of darkness and waiting, but joy is here. Joy is here now. Like any parent or other person who has eagerly awaited the birth of a child, after spending many months waiting for our little Ada Lee, I developed a new appreciation for how much goes into the in-between time of anticipation. Even before we've held a baby, or before we've seen the return of longer days with more light, before we've experienced relief from oppression, or before whatever else we're waiting for comes, we are invited to celebrate even in the face of what challenges us. This is what Advent offers. The reminder that value can be found even in times of uncertainty and change. The reminder that we are in the world now. We can't just wait for a hoped for or even a feared future. At the same time, we are offered the opportunity to embrace joy, the joy that comes with anticipating new life, with knowing that nothing will be the same again. When Ada Lee came into this world, I cried as I held her for the first time. And I knew that we owed it to her and to all our children to embrace joy, hope, love, and peace. Virtues often trampled over in the holiday season as we race from pumpkins to presents. We owe it to ourselves and future generations to cultivate these virtues and live into them. But how do we do that in a time of waiting, of uncertainty, especially this year? How do we raise ourselves and children of our community to experience joy while also fighting for the oppressed, challenging what is wrong with our world? We live in a world filled with a lot of fear and concern. We watch the political news and the continuing tragedy in Gaza with despair. We hear of yet another shooting, and sorrow fills our hearts. And in our times of waiting and uncertainty, in our times of Advent, Unitarian Universalism reminds us that joy and sorrow can be woven fine. Joy can be an undercurrent in life, something thicker and more sustaining than simple, transient pleasure. And joy can be sneaky. It can surprise us and raise up in response to the most unexpected things. Tom Owen Toole says, "Holy joy itself is discoverable smack dab in our very midst, where we're least likely to look. Well-worn relationships, in difficult work, in startling objects, in quiet moments, in the eyes of strangers. Yes, even in the tedium and trivia of life." There's an Egyptian myth that speculates that right after we die, we will meet with a god who will give us a quiz, just when you thought the pop quizzes were done. After 42 rather routine questions concerning how the deceased has lived, you are asked two final questions. Did you find joy? Did you bring joy? What if that's the key to getting through the rough stuff? What if all the messages that tell us to fear the other, to be unhappy with ourselves, to worry about the future, to gossip, to sow discontent, to assume the worst about others, what if they are wrong and the Egyptians have it right? Did you find joy? Did you bring joy? Joy is the centerpiece of Advent. Just look at the story of Mary, the mother of Jesus. Many of us know her as the teen who got pregnant before she was married, or we know her from the nativity scene as the woman who has just given birth and is now kneeling before a sleeping baby. It's so easy to relegate her to just these two roles. And indeed, many of us who grew up in more Protestant churches were taught to know Mary as mostly a meek young woman who was accepting of a rather startling visit by an angel. We know her as one who goes to her soon-to-be husband with a story of this visit, hoping he'll believe that that's why she's pregnant. Sorry, that might have been the wrong tone. I once worked with an Episcopalian priest, and someone asked him about the virgin birth, and he asked, what do you think about that? And the Episcopalian said, I think people were uncomfortable with premarital sex. I sat down. I did not expect that response. So let's fill in this story a bit more. Mary's pregnant. The story tells us that an angel declared Mary a virgin will give birth to the Son of God. This is where many of us get caught up. The story of God impregnating a woman with God's self. And if this has been your sticking point, as it clearly has been for many others, including that priest, I invite you to know that much of the scholarship tells us that there was another way to translate this text, to read the word virgin as young, unmarried woman. Our Unitarian Christian ancestors would remind us that at the time, Son of God also referred to anyone with a special, close relationship to the divine. It was popularly used to refer to Caesar Augustus in the day. Right? I was surprised too. Whatever interpretive path you take, we have a teenager who's pregnant, who didn't expect to be, and knows the danger it puts her in. She knows her fiancé could turn her away. She knows her community could reject her. The pregnancy could make her, in some ways, part of the lowest caste of people. She knows how many women die in childbirth. She's seen other women give birth, and she knows it's not easy, especially if she had to do it alone. Mary, knowing all this, and also knows she matters, and her child matters. And she knows her responsibility to the world has changed. The story offers the idea that she has a responsibility to the baby to be and to the world. So she goes to spend several months of her pregnancy with her cousin, Elizabeth, because she needs a woman's thoughts before she faces her fiancé. When she arrives, Elizabeth tells her that she and this baby matter, reiterating what the angel said, but what might not have fully sunk in given the whole shock of the unexpected pregnancy itself. Elizabeth affirms that her child is important. Like being a mom isn't hard enough, now Mary's hearing others have been told by God that this baby has a defined purpose. Mary could have given up, said, no. Childbearing is going to be difficult enough. Living before epidurals and indoor plumbing and all, no. She could have asked for an out. But here's what the sweet nativity stories leave out about Mary. She was a radical. She was a revolutionary, and she wanted the world to change. In another story, she might have been Princess Leia or Hermione Granger. In this one, she was going to be the one to initiate rebellion, to bear the divine, to give birth and raise up a new leader and send him into the world. So like many resistance fighters who came after, Mary sings. Her song, sometimes called Mary's Magnificat, is found in the Christian scriptures in Luke 1, 46 through 55. And Mary said, "My soul magnifies the Lord, and my spirit rejoices in God my Savior, for he has looked with favor on the lowliness of his servant. Surely from now on all generations will call me blessed, For the Mighty One has done great things for me, and holy is his name. His mercy is for those who fear him from generation to generation. He has shown strength with his arm. He has scattered the proud in the thoughts of their hearts. He has brought down the powerful from their thrones and lifted up the lowly. He has filled the hungry with good things and sent the rich away empty. He has helped his servant Israel in remembrance of his mercy, according to the promise he made to our ancestors, to Abraham and to his descendants forever. Did you catch it? I know some of the theology is a little tricky for us Unitarians, but underneath it, she's singing a song of joy as she foments revolution. She's planning to raise a resistor, a child who will help bring the powerful from their thrones, who will lift up the poor and marginalized, who will break down walls and cross borders to feed the hungry. Mary knows it will be difficult. She knows birthing a child, raising a family, teaching them about the pain of the world while cultivating a sense of hope and joy for the future will be difficult. Let's listen to this again in the song The Canticle of the Turning by Rory Cooney. Just one moment.
My soul cries out with a joyful shout that the God of my heart is great, and my spirit sings of the wondrous things that you bring to the ones who wait. You fixed your sight on your servant's plight, and my weakness you did not spurn. So from east to west shall my name be blessed, and the world be about to turn. My heart shall sing of the day you bring, that the fires of your justice burn. Wipe away all tears, for the dawn draws near, and the world is about to turn. Though I am small, my God, my all, you worked great things in me, and your mercy will last from the depths of the past to the end of the age to be. Your very name puts a proud to shame, and for those who before you yearn, you will show your might, put the strong to flight, for the world is about to turn. My heart shall sing of the day you bring, let the fires of your justice burn. Wipe away all tears, for the dawn draws near, and the world is about to turn. From the halls of power to the fortress tower, now the stone will be left on stone. Let the king beware, for your justice tears every tyrant from his throne. The hungry poor shall reap no more, for the food they can never earn. There are tables spread, every mouth be fed, for the world is about to turn. My heart shall sing of the day you bring, let the fires of your justice burn. Wipe away all tears, for the dawn draws near, and the world is about to turn. Though the nations rage from age to age, we remember who holds us fast. God's mercy must deliver us from the conqueror's rushing grasp. This saving word that our forebears heard is the promise which holds us bound. Till the spear and rod can be crushed by God, who is turning the world around. My heart shall sing of the day you bring, let the fires of your justice burn. Wipe away all tears, for the dawn draws near, and the world is about to turn. My heart shall sing of the day you bring, let the fires of your justice burn. Wipe away all tears, for the dawn draws near, and the world is about to turn.
Life for Jews was difficult when Mary became pregnant. The Jewish people had been expelled from their land more than once. Jews were living under the control of the Roman Empire, and while they were citizens, they were often considered second-class citizens. So when Mary refers to her own lowliness, she's not just referencing herself. She's talking about her people. And yet she finds joy. Not a passive happiness or contentment with how things are, but a hopeful joy in the time of waiting, a time of creating, a time of plotting revolution. This leads me to wonder, especially now, where is the joyful revolution being gestated in our country today? Where might the Spirit who plans to remove tyrants and feed the hungry choose to be born? Black folks who have been for centuries asking and protesting and pleading and demanding equality in this country are still being shot, jailed, persecuted in shocking numbers. Perhaps God's Spirit is to be born to this movement. The number of mass shootings in our country, both in and out of schools, far, far outstrips any nation in the world. Our children are growing up with lockdown drills, and young leaders among them are calling for change and reform. Perhaps the Spirit of life would be born here. In so many towns, in a tragedy born of our own country's greed and incompetence, we've left families without safe, clean drinking water, without good health care, and we're still struggling to address all this, even as we lumber toward greater threats to our climate and our children's future. Perhaps God's Spirit would be born here. Across the country, young mothers like Mary struggle to make ends meet. They struggle to find ways to raise and feed their children without going hungry themselves. They struggle in a society that rejects them or tells them how they may or may not control their own bodies. Sometimes they are rejected for being pregnant, sometimes for not doing enough to pull themselves up by their own bootstraps. Perhaps the Spirit of life would be born here. Or perhaps God's Spirit is to be born at our border, having traveled for weeks to escape poverty and violence. Perhaps God's Spirit came here with those we have blocked with walls, physical and bureaucratic. Those people in need, asking for help, came to the doors of our country, which so many are trying to slam closed. Who might we be shutting out? And what about us? Who are we in this Advent time, this time of waiting before the world turns? Are we Elizabeth, recognizing the spark of divine and pledging ourselves to support its birth into the world? Are we Mary, committing to our part in turning over current destructive powers? If we find ourselves more in the places of power and privilege, living comfortably and generally benefiting from how things are, what happens as the world turns? As Unitarian Universalists, we are called to help create a more just world. Are we ready to do that? Because, my friends, the sweet, pleasant Christmas story you may know isn't the whole truth. Mary isn't just passively waiting for a birth. She's preparing to raise this child. And she's going to take him to protest. She's going to write letters. She's going to show up on our borders and at our prisons. And she's going to bring joy. My beloved spiritual companions, the divine spirit of justice, truth, and mercy is always waiting to be born. And we are called to the joy of acting now, before Christmas, before the brighter and longer days return. Advent is a season of subversion, a season in which we've been invited to sing songs of rebellion, preparing to help birth the world anew, to find joy in this time of work and waiting that so much of our culture would have us skip right over. May it be so. Blessed be. Amen.
Please rise and bow to your spirit, and we'll sing hymn 225, O Come, Emmanuel.
And now a reading by Reverend Annie Gonzalez, Wait Like the World is About to Turn. Now is the season of Advent, a time of waiting. Waiting can be discouraging, can be demoralizing, can bring despair, paralysis, denial, a turning off. Waiting can feel passive, but I think this Advent season we are called to wait differently. We are called to active, hopeful waiting. This Advent season, wait like Mary. Wait like a poor, undocumented, pregnant teenager in an occupied territory who knows she is sacred, who proudly proclaims that all generations will call her blessed. If you too know oppression in our current society, remember how very sacred you are. Remember that you are co-creating divinity itself with your life. Remember that the Christian Bible and so many ancient texts confirm what you know. The poor and oppressed matter deeply. Black lives matter. Wait like Mary. Let your soul magnify the divine. Praise a God who would scatter the proud and bring down the mighty, and fill the hungry with good things, while the rich are sent empty away. Whoever you are, make your voice heard. Bear witness, protest, preach, pray, gather, walk out, boycott. Share your specific solutions for how our society can move forward. Wait like Joseph, too. Wait like a man who stands by his pregnant fiancée when his society tells him she is wrong, unrespectable, immoral, and when he himself is confused. Think carefully about the judgments you make and hear. Learn to value justice and righteousness and righteous anger more than respectability and peace. Push yourself to dialogue with those who do not understand. Find a way to stand with those who are bringing divinity into this world, even if they are not doing it exactly the way you'd like. Yes, wait. Even wait like God. Wait like a force so powerful it created the entire universe, so loving it was willing to become a fragile baby human, born into poverty and an occupying empire. Wait like a God who gets fleshy, gets vulnerable, gets into radical empathy with the oppressed by literally becoming one of them. Listen to those who are suffering. Listen to those who are executed by the state the way Jesus would be as a young adult. Listen to those who experience violence, occupation, condemnation. We cannot, like the God of the Advent story, become a human of a certain time, place, and social situation, but we can practice radical empathy as best we know how. And so, in this way, we wait. We wait for a new creation, a beloved community, a way of living into relationship that defies the racist systems that destroy lives in our country and our world. We wait in this time of Advent. For if we all wait this way, like Mary, like Joseph, like God, then indeed the dawn will draw near, for the world is about to turn. For the world is about to turn. All right, and now is the time for announcements. You all have the order of service, and the announcements are listed here in the order of service. You want to take a look at that. There's Santa's Kitchen. There's the wrapping party on the 13th. Santa's Kitchen is already happening out there, so if you want to buy something or you want to bring something next week or the week after, get ready to do that. Start planning for our mittens and more tree. You'll also see that in the hallway out here. And circle supper sign-ups. And Reverend Jenn has an announcement also.
So, you know, we've been working with Reverend Sierra Marie as a religious education consultant. So we have a really exciting event coming up on January 26th that is for the entire congregation to get together and think together about what we want the future to be for this congregation. So please set aside time to stay after the service. I will even forgive you if you skip the service and only come to the event. Don't tell my colleagues you can do that kind of thing, but so January 26th. No, it should be a Sunday. January.
December, never mind. I'm not here. Forget I said anything. But I do want to remind you all, before we sing our final hymn, that next Sunday, please come and listen to the hard work that the choir has put into our winter choral service. It'll be a celebration of celebrations and holiday things around the world at this time. Obviously, a lot of Christmas things as well, but just going to try to be a sort of international feel for things that people celebrate. So please come, invite your friends, fill the entire hall. We'll spill out into the foyer, and that'll be great. So please rise, embody your spirit, and we'll sing hymn 226. Yes, we did sing it last Sunday, but we're going to sing it again today. People Look East 226.
May we embrace an active, hopeful waiting in the season that calls us to joy. May we bring to life a more generous, loving world. Go in peace, go in love.